all of this, in summation, all the things that we have talked about, it really comes back to emasculation, defeminization, all come from a place of survival mode. The person who's doing it is in a space of self-preservation. I am going to claw my way to the top at your expense. I don't care what happens to you because I'm going to get mine. This makes me feel good. I don't care about all the extra stuff. And like Wayne Cotton said, coming from a place of trauma, right? There is something that happened in my life that makes me feel like I have to do this, that I have to sacrifice people for myself to live. Every time I say the word sacrifice, I think of like throwing kids in volcanoes. Like,
But I don't think trauma allows you to have an entitlement.
But it doesn't. No, it doesn't allow you to. But people feel like,
right,
because I've had this experience. This is my coping mechanism.
Take it or leave it type mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This is who
Yeah,
I am.
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've in my past history, I've been guilty of using that statement too. Not fully aware that it is an assortment of trauma, and I needed to be better. I'm aware of that now, and I'm also aware that I played that role in the past, and not in a good way. And it was wrong for me to play that role in the past. And you know, a lot of us as adults now need to take ownership of the things we were in the past in order for us to fully move on. It's like the past, you don't dwell in it, don't live in it, but you know, just replace it. And you're right, from a place of trauma, you're acting like, oh, this is me, take it or leave it. No, this is me. I need help. I'm going to work on it. If you're present, that's cool for it. If you're not, then that's okay for it too. But I have these issues. I'm trying to work on them. I do apologize if it's affecting you in any shape or form.
That awareness.
You know, just having these heartfelt conversations about it is where we as a people need to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So then with that, wrapping this all up in a nice pretty little bow, what advice would we give to people who have experienced emasculation, defeminization in their relationships? Can you salvage it? Can you work through it? Can you, like, what? Do we have any guidance for them?
But for me, I would say it's like what I said in one of the old podcast, one of our old episodes. It's like, yo, you got to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze, man.
I knew you were gonna say that.
You got to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze, like making your orange juice and your lemonade. You got to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze. If think about any God-forsaken, awful thing, if that person does it, can you still see them the same, and can they still see you the same? And if the question is no on both parts, then obviously you know where you need to be, somewhere else. And you would like for your partner not to be that way, not to be a Jada. Because I ain't gonna lie, from this point on, any chick that give me anytime I felt some type of emasculation or demasculization, I automatically say, yo, you got Jada Pinkett vibes. I ain't messing with that. That's what I'm gonna say. Jada, get out my line. That's it. Jada, get out my line, because I ain't Will Smith. Nope. I like I said, I don't condone slapping, but barbecue sauce. You know what I'm saying? Nope. Got to go. But if the juice is worth the squeeze and you feel like, you know, have a heart-to-heart conversation with your partner, whoever you're talking to, in aspects to that, and come to a healthy discussion. Because like I said, the bedroom situation, while I felt some type of way afterwards, this is the bedroom situation. It was still good. I reflect about it afterwards where I felt kind of a little dirty on the inside, but it felt good at the time. Hey.
I'm gonna say that sacrifice is not compromise.
Yep.
You don't have to sacrifice who you are as an individual to be able to compromise on situations, life, anything in regards to relationships.
That part.
That I want to speak to Black men real quick. This is a very sensitive topic for Black men, and this is deep seated because for a long time in this country, you know, we were subdued, and there's always been, you know, the age old sort of idea that the man is the provider. And so during that time when, you know, Black people were enslaved in this country, we were not able to provide for our Black wives because we were slaves. We were enslaved. We were in chains and shackles. And then after that, after the civil rights movement happened, we had to deal with you know, we still had to deal with Jim Crow. We still had to deal with, so we were still not given equal rights to be able to do something that's innate within us as Black men, which is provide for our partner. And then after that, going on after Jim Crow, it's just harder for Black men to be successful in this country, to a point where you feel like you are in a place where you can provide And again, we talked about that. It's just innate within men to feel like you need to provide. It's something that's innate within us. And so, that being said, to Black men who are in relationships with a woman who is demasculating, um, I think that that is something that's very, very traumatic for Black men. Uh, Again, it's something that we've dealt with historically from the very beginning of our history in this country, is the need to feel like a provider. And when we don't have that or feel like we're not there, we're not able to do that, it's something that's deeply traumatic for Black men. And so I want to say, for
Yes.
Black men, and to Black men that are in relationships with someone who is demasculating you, it's very important that you have those conversations with that person and let that person know how that's making you feel, because it can have
Yes.
long-term effects on that Black man. And I've seen this person. I do know someone who was in a relationship with someone who was demasculating them for a long period of time, telling them, you're not a real man. You don't do this. You don't do that. You don't do this. You don't do that. And years after that relationship has ended, that is still affecting that Black man. That is still affecting that person. And so you really have to be careful about how you treat the people that you're in a relationship with, and understand that it's a problem for men and women, white, Black, whoever. It's a problem. Demasculating is not okay, and defeminization is not okay. But as a Black man, I wouldn't feel right ending this conversation without addressing Black listeners, because it is something that
Yes.
is so near and dear to us, and we feel like we need to be able to provide for our significant other. So please, have those tough conversations with your significant other if you feel like that's what's happening to you, and if that person isn't changing or isn't giving you an opportunity to feel like you are providing and doing the role that you feel is needed, then you got to ask yourself, is that where you need to be?
Yes. Thank you so much for saying, bringing back, the ancestral aspect of it, because it really brings to mind for me like ancestral generational trauma. We like to think because we're so far removed from that period of time that it doesn't affect us, but you have to understand that ancestral trauma is in our DNA. That
Yeah.
stuff impacts, I mean, it has been researched and proven, epigenetics, that the things that our ancestors experience alters their DNA, which alters our DNA, right? And we have to be willing to do the work. And when you think about demasculinization, emasculation, as a person of color, going back to that slavery period of time, when you think of the masculine energy, that's protector and provider, right? And problem solver. During slavery times, they couldn't do any of those things, like you said. You couldn't protect your wife from being raped. You couldn't protect your family from being separated. You couldn't provide for your family. That was probably the most emasculating experience
Yes.
ever. And then, like you were talking about, going into welfare. Now we're in this place where people are on welfare, and it's beneficial for you to not have a working man in the house. They're supporting not having the family unit together, the man not being a masculine provider, right? And so there's this generational trauma that is within us that definitely needs to be addressed. But that's a whole another episode. But I appreciate you bringing that up, because it is
Or
definitely
two.
relevant.
We can always do a part two on it, or a whole separate category. Stay tuned, folks. We have more to come.
Yes, it definitely is relevant. But to piggyback off of what you said, for me, emasculation, defeminization, the biggest thing take home for me is that they are perceptions. What is okay for one person might be hurtful to somebody else. And so,
Hmm.
like Achilles said, you have to be able to have those conversations. If somebody does something, whether it's a romantic partnership, a family member, a random person, and it makes you feel some kind of way, being able to speak up and say, when you did this thing, I felt like this thing, this is what I need from you, right? Being able to have those conversations, because that is the only way that we're going to be able to heal and begin to do the work in repairing the relationships that we have with ourselves and with the people around us. Um, so, man, fantastic conversation. I thank both of you, Lisa Marie and Achilles, for coming on and chit chatting with us, leaning in with us. Mike, you have anything before
Oh,
we?
no, 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 no. I enjoyed everybody being on the show. This was awesome. And it just felt good to get it all up my chest. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we invite you all to keep the conversation going in the comments. If there's something that's just really on your heart, feel free to shoot us a message. We'd love to see your thoughts and your stories and your perspectives in the comment section. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, or if you want to pop on and lean in live with us, please, please let us know. I'm
Please
sure
let
you
us know. Come
do.
in. Don't be afraid. This is safe space. You ain't got to say your whole name. You ain't even got to show your face. A lot of
No.
people want to basically be kept secret, and then we respect that. We're not calling nobody out.
Achilles.
You know what I mean?
No,
Achilles.
it's just we're just
But
having
anyway.
a conversation. That's all it is. So we
Really,
appreciate
y'all?
your feedback and are committed
Really.
to making this podcast better with each episode. Until next time.
Thanks, Mr. Wayne, for chiming in. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne.
Yes. Hopefully you're still here. Anyways, bye.
Bye.
Peace.